No one shaped the thriller like Alfred Hitchcock. For decades, he pulled audiences to the edge of their seats and kept them there. Suspense wasn't just a genre for him, it was an art form. From murder mysteries to psychological mind games, his films defined what it means to be truly unforgettable. Today, we're counting down the very best of Alfie. The 10 films that prove why he's still called the master of suspense. Hitchcock's first American film might not have the stylistic flair of his later thrillers, but Rebecca is essential viewing, a gothic tale soaked in dread and repression. Joan Fontaine plays a young woman swept into marriage with the mysterious Maxim de Winter, only to find herself haunted by the lingering presence of his late wife.
Mrs. De Winter was most particular about sauces.
Let's have whatever you think that Mrs. De Winter would have ordered.
From the cold stone corridors of Manderley to Judith Anderson's chilling performance as Mrs. Danvers, Rebecca builds its tension not through violence, but through atmosphere. Fontaine's growing paranoia, the secrets buried beneath the surface, and the power games played by those around her create a slow, elegant descent into psychological unease. It's the only Hitchcock film to win Best Picture, a fact that still puzzles some people, but its legacy is clear. Rebecca marked Hitchcock's arrival in Hollywood and proved he didn't need a knife-wielding killer to get under your skin. Stylish, claustrophobic, and cold-blooded, Dial M for Murder proves Hitchcock didn't need exotic locations or elaborate set pieces to create real tension. The entire film unfolds mostly in a single apartment as a husband plots the perfect murder of his wealthy wife, played by Grace Kelly. What follows is a carefully constructed game of manipulation and timing, with every telephone call, key, and rug placement becoming a possible turning point. This was Hitchcock's experiment with 3D, but the real depth comes from how he turns a posh London flat into a stage for moral collapse. Ray Milland is slick and sinister. Kelly is radiant as ever, and the plot twists in on itself like a noose. Even without the flash of his bigger thrillers, Dial M for Murder is pure Hitchcock, a master of suspense, tightening the screws one scene at a time. Two men meet by chance. One has a problem, the other offers a solution. So begins Strangers on a Train, one of Hitchcock's most sinister setups. The premise is devilishly simple. I'll kill yours if you kill mine. When tennis star Guy Haines casually chats with the eccentric Bruno on a train, he doesn't realize he's just entered a deadly pact. The brilliance of the film is how Bruno, played with gleeful menace by Robert Walker, becomes both the villain and the engine of suspense. From the unforgettable murder reflected in eyeglasses to the carousel climax, Hitchcock pushes visual storytelling to its limits. The film also lays the groundwork for so many wrong man thrillers that followed, but few do it with this much psychological bite. Strangers on a Train is playful, perverse, and proof that Hitchcock could wring terror out of everyday encounters. With The Birds, Hitchcock took a bold swing into apocalyptic horror and somehow made it scarier by not explaining anything. There's no motive, no warning, and no music. Just birds, watching, waiting, and then attacking without mercy. What starts as a romantic comedy setup, socialite Melanie Daniels following a man to a sleepy coastal town, quickly spirals into full-blown chaos as flocks of birds begin terrorizing the residents. Hitchcock uses silence and pacing to build unbearable tension. And some of the film's most iconic moments, like the jungle gym scene or the attic attack, still have the power to unsettle. Tippi Hedren gives a steely, haunting performance, especially considering the off-screen torment she endured during production. While The Birds may not be as tightly plotted as his earlier films, it taps into a primal fear that nature can turn against us at any time, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Hitchcock once called Shadow of a Doubt his personal favorite, and it's easy to see why. Set in a quiet California town, the film follows young Charlie, a bright teenager who becomes suspicious of her beloved uncle Charlie, played with eerie charm by Joseph Cotten. As cracks begin to show in his story, she uncovers a horrifying truth. Her uncle may be the notorious Merry Widow murderer.
Oh, Charlie, now. Don't start imagining things.
How could you do such things?
What makes the film so effective is how Hitchcock corrupts the idealized image of small-town America, turning it into a setting for dread and psychological warfare. Cotten is magnetic, equal parts charming and menacing, and Teresa Wright gives one of the strongest performances of any Hitchcock lead. It's a slow-burn masterclass in suspicion, duality, and the terror of evil hiding in plain sight. Notorious is one of Hitchcock's most elegant thrillers, a blend of espionage, romance, and moral ambiguity, elevated by two magnetic leads, Ingrid Bergman and Cary Grant. Bergman plays Alicia, the daughter of a Nazi spy who's recruited by U.S. intelligence to infiltrate a group of Nazi sympathizers in post-war Brazil. Grant is her handler and romantic interest, but the mission demands she seduce and marry another man, played by Claude Rains. The emotional stakes are almost as high as the political ones, with Hitchcock wringing every drop of tension from a stolen key, a suspicious wine cellar, and the longest on-screen kiss allowed under the production code. Beneath the glamorous setting and slow-burn pacing lies a story about trust, sacrifice, and betrayal. For all its visual sophistication, Notorious is one of Hitchcock's most psychologically rich love stories, wrapped inside a suspense thriller. This is Hitchcock at his most playful and polished, a whirlwind of mistaken identity, Cold War espionage, and cross-country suspense. Cary Grant plays an ad exec who's mistaken for a government agent and hunted across America, from a tense auction house to the face of Mount Rushmore. Along the way, he meets Eva Marie Saint, whose icy seductiveness masks her own secrets. The film is famous for its iconic sequences, the crop duster chase, the Rushmore climax, but its real genius lies in how smoothly it blends thrills with style and wit. Bernard Herrmann's score pulses under every sequence, and Saul Bass's title design is a masterclass in visual aesthetics. If Notorious is a mature thriller, then North by Northwest is a roller coaster, an early Bond film prototype, and one of the most purely entertaining films Hitchcock made. Confined to a single set, Rear Window somehow feels more expansive than most thrillers. Jimmy Stewart plays a photographer sidelined with a broken leg, who passes the time spying on his neighbors from his apartment. But when he suspects one may have murdered their wife, his obsession grows, and drags Grace Kelly's character along with him. The brilliance of Rear Window is how Hitchcock turns us into voyeurs, implicating the audience in Stewart's growing paranoia. The courtyard is like a stage, each window a little movie playing out in real time. With limited movement, Hitchcock crafts incredible suspense, including a wordless climax that still makes audiences hold their breath. It's clever, sexy, tense, and one of the best examples of how much Hitchcock could do with so little. Hitchcock shattered expectations with this low-budget, black-and-white shocker, introducing a whole new kind of horror to American audiences. Janet Leigh's Marion Crane is the apparent protagonist, until she isn't. What follows is a descent into madness, anchored by Anthony Perkins' unforgettable performance as Norman Bates, polite, twitchy, and terrifying. The famous shower scene changed film editing forever, and Bernard Herrmann's screeching strings became the sound of fear itself. But Psycho isn't just famous for its twists. It's a deeply disturbing character study and a masterclass in pacing and mood. It's Hitchcock's most influential film, and still a chilling watch more than 60 years later. Often considered Hitchcock's masterpiece, Vertigo is a hypnotic, haunting story about obsession, illusion, and control. Jimmy Stewart plays a retired detective hired to follow a friend's wife. But what starts as surveillance becomes obsession. Kim Novak is both spectral and seductive as the mysterious Madeline, and Bernard Herrmann's score swells with longing and doom. The film's hypnotic colors, camera movements, and dreamlike atmosphere create a sense of psychological freefall. And the famous Vertigo shot changed cinematography forever. Initially misunderstood, Vertigo has grown in stature over the decades and is now widely regarded as one of the greatest films ever made. It's Hitchcock's most personal film, and his darkest, most poetic vision of love twisted into something unrecognizable.